starting this question. 9701 Feb March 2024. Question says the relative magnitude of the property X of five elements is shown P, Q, R, and S. Period 3 and have consecutive atomic numbers. Consecutive means like continuous numbers 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, just like that. Okay. Con which row is correct for property X and element R? So, like if you remember, when we were discussing this, different graphs, ionization energy, electrical conductivity, or atomic radius. Okay. So if you remember this graph, so what do you think on y-axis? On y-axis, what is supposed to be? Okay. On y-axis, what is supposed to be? If we talk about, let's suppose option A says electrical conductivity and element R is aluminium. Let's suppose I am saying that this is aluminium, so of course this would be magnesium, this would be sodium, this would be silicon, and this would be phosphorus. Okay. Uh, let's say this should be electrical conductivity. So is this graph matching for the electrical conductivity? Sodium has one valence electron, magnesium has two valence electrons, aluminium has three. And these are metals. Metals are good conductor of electricity. As compared to metals, non-metals are bad conductor. Okay. And if you consider the metallic bonding, if you remember the definition of metallic bonding, it's an electrostatic force of attraction between the cation and a sea of delocalized electrons. Sodium has less electrons as compared to magnesium, and magnesium has less electrons as compared to aluminium. Aluminium has more electrons, so aluminium should be a conductor of electricity. So yes, this is option A. Option A is correct. Okay. And silicon and phosphorus are non-metals. Silicon is a metallite, of course. So silicon has a slightly higher electrical conductivity as compared to phosphorus because phosphorus is completely non-metal. It's a bad conductor, you can say. If you are thinking, okay, sir, why not? This is B. Why not? This is B. You know, B is electronegativity. So electronegativity increases across the period and decreases down the group. Okay. So they say okay, these three are metals. These three are metals. So and these are non-metals. Okay. These are non-metals. Metals have a lower electronegativity because metal has to lose electron. Electronegativity की definition क्या है? Ability of an element to gain electron towards itself. No, metals have to lose electrons. So generally metals have a lower electronegativity. So option B is incorrect. Okay, option B is incorrect. If you are thinking that it should be melting point, so remember melting point generally silicon ka is at the top. If you remember, silicon has a giant covalent structure. Giant covalent structure. So they say that aluminium is R. So of course it should be higher melting point. No, it's incorrect. It's incorrect. Okay. And what about option D? What about option D? Ionization energy. Silicon is having highest ionization energy? No. Silicon, so of course this graph is matching with option A only. That's why option A is correct. Okay. Question number 18. This question refers to isolated gaseous species. The species F minus like fluoride, neon, and sodium are isoelectronic. This means that they have the same number of electrons. Of course, fluoride is 9. 9 plus 1, 10. Neon is 10. Sodium is 11. 11 minus 1 is 10. They all have the same number of electrons. In which order do their radii increases? In which order do their radii increases? So, and generally, let me tell you, okay, cations have a lower size than that of anion. This is the main point. Okay, size of size of cation is smaller than, ये मेन पॉइंट अपने पास लिखते रहना काम आएंगे. Size of cation is smaller than the anion. Okay. So smaller should be the cation. Smaller should be the cation. Okay. So of course, option A or option C may be correct because the smallest is the cation. Cation bole to positive ion. B and D completely wrong. Okay, B and D completely wrong. No need to check option B and D. Okay, it would waste your time. You have to select between A and C. Now we have to see which one should be correct. Of course, I told you the size of anion is larger than that of cation, so C should be correct because this is anion. Okay, this is anion. So in this way, MCQ is going to take less time. Otherwise, if you're going to check all the options, so you that's why I'm saying you are supposed to note down main points. Then question 17 says element X in period 3, elements X reacts with hydrogen to produce a solid Y. When solid Y is added to water, a solution with a pH of less than 7 is produced. It means that less than 7 is acidic pH. Less than 7 is acidic pH. What is the identity of element X? What is the identity of element X? So let's suppose if this is sodium, when sodium reacts with oxygen, it forms sodium oxide. Metal oxide. Metal oxides are basic. Metal oxides are basic. Basic oxides are going to have a pH greater than 7. They are saying less than 7. Option A is incorrect. B. Silicon. When silicon reacts with oxygen, it forms silica. It forms silica, silicon dioxide. And when the silicon dioxide is dissolved in water, okay, when silicon dioxide is dissolved in water, okay, so SiCl4, no, silica is insoluble in water. Okay, silica is insoluble in water because it's a giant covalent structure. It's insoluble in water. What about C? What about C? Phosphorus. When phosphorus reacts with water, it forms phosphorus oxide, P2O5. And when it is reacting with water, so it would be giving you H3PO4. That is your acid. That is your acid. H3PO4 is phosphoric acid. Okay. So option C is correct. Option C is correct. Acha, you know, option D also gives a pH less than 7. But why not option D is correct? You know what's the reason? When sulfur reacts with oxygen, it produces sulfur dioxide. Means K sulfur dioxide is your Y. Sulfur dioxide is your Y. And when sulfur dioxide reacts with water, it produces H3PO4. Oh, sorry, H2SO3. H2SO3, that is sulfurous acid. It's also an acid. So of course it's going to give you a pH that should be less than 7. So why not D is correct? The reason is that in the question they have mentioned K solid Y. Why should be solid? This is a gas. Sulfur dioxide is a gas. इसलिए option D is incorrect. इसलिए option D is incorrect. Remember, that's the reason option C is correct because your phosphorus oxide that was P2O5 is solid at room temperature. Okay, simple. Uh, Question number 19 says separate samples of magnesium and calcium are added to an excess of dilute sulfuric acid. The observations are summarized in the table. Which statement explains? the difference in these observations. Which statement explains the difference in these observations? Okay. So option A, vigorous reaction, bubbles of gas produced, magnesium completely dissolves. This is an observation. When magnesium reacts with dilute sulfuric acid, this is an equation. When magnesium reacts with sulfuric acid, it produces magnesium sulfate and hydrogen gas. Same goes with calcium. When it reacts with sulfuric acid, it gives us calcium sulfate and hydrogen gas. It's not a new reaction. You already did in your IGCSE as well. Okay, this is a simple and basic reaction. So if you remember in an acid, base and salt wala chapter, we used to say when metal reacts with acid, they produce salt and hydrogen gas. This is your salt, this is your hydrogen gas. So which statement explains the difference in these observations? In about calcium, they say vigorous reaction initially, then bubbles of gas produced. Reaction soon stops and leaves most of the calcium unreacted. Why? What's the reason? Uh, generally, I'm talking generally. Uh, calcium is more reactive than magnesium. Calcium is more reactive than magnesium. They are in group 2, of course. When we go down the group, so the reactivity increases. Okay, क्योंकि calcium has more shells as compared to magnesium because the proton number for calcium is greater, that is 20. Calcium has 2, 8, 8, 2, 4 shells. And magnesium has 3 shells. So calcium outer electron is far away from the nucleus. So that's the reason it's more reactive than magnesium. Okay. So uh, almost they have the same observation. Vigorous reaction. Bubbles of gas produced, bubbles of gas produced. Okay. Magnesium completely dissolves, but calcium, most of the calcium जो है वो unreacted है. Okay. So in option C, they are saying calcium, magnesium is more reactive. No, 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 no. Magnesium sulfate is more soluble. No, no. क्यों 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 क्यों? I told you that the solubility of sulfate decreases down the group, if you remember. So these are the main points you are supposed to note it down. Group 2 की sulfate की solubility. I'm talking about the solubility of the group 2 sulfates. They are going to decrease down the group. Remember, you're supposed to note it down. Sulfate की solubility. Talking about group 2. Talking about group 2. Solubility of sulfates decreases down the group. So calcium should be less soluble. Magnesium should be more soluble. Calcium sulfate should be less soluble, more soluble. Magnesium sulfate would be less soluble. Okay. So what they have written, okay, what they have written, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, and radium. Sulfate, 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 and then sulfate. So solubility of group 2 sulfate decreases down the group. Decreases down the group. Magnesium sulfate is more soluble than calcium sulfate. Okay, magnesium sulfate is more soluble than calcium sulfate. So you can see this. They have written which statement explains the difference in these observations. Difference in these observations. They have the same observation. Okay. Mostly they have the same observation. So this statement is correct, but not related to this question, not explaining in a better manner. That's why option D is incorrect. So we have filtered the two options, that is C and D. Now we have to decide between A and B. Now we have to decide between A and B. What do you think? Or you are like thinking something else? Yeah. What should be the correct option? Yes. So this is a you can say, directional question in which you may know like most of the things. before doing this question, like the solubility of sulfates and also the reactivity of the metal. Yes. What do you think? What should be the correct option? Yeah. I'm going to give you only 30 seconds. फिर मैं बताता हूँ आपको कि क्या सही है. जल्दी, फटाफट. पहले सोचो फिर मैं बताता हूँ. Maybe what I told you should be incorrect. You are supposed to think by yourself. You are supposed to assess yourself कि कैसे करना है इस क्वेश्चन को. Yes. No option is correct. Ahmed, maybe A correct, B correct, C correct. You are supposed to think by yourself. Considering all the options, you have to look at all the options. सारे ऑप्शंस देखो एक एक करके समझ आ जाएगा मसला नहीं है.
ऑक्सीडेशन स्टेट
ए.
इंक्रीज
ओह ओके.
तो ये आपके पास ऑक्सीडेशन ऑक्सीडेशन स्टेट
ऑप्शन
डिक्रीज हो
ए.
जाए तो ये आपके पास
ओके
रिडक्शन है,
ओके.
ऑक्सीडेशन स्टेट डिक्रीज
सो
है, तो ये दोनों
बेसिकली
बातें ही पॉसिबल हैं, एक जैसी हैं, तो आप इसको इस तरह से लिख सकते हैं. अब आइए जरा मैं आपको इसको कनेक्ट करता हूँ वो पहली वाली.
ओके. तो कौन सी रिकॉर्डिंग सुना रहे हो भाई? Calcium is a better oxidizing agent than magnesium. Okay, calcium is a better oxidizing agent than magnesium. Okay, calcium has larger size. Okay, so it's going to lose electron easily. When something loses electron easily, so means that I can say it can oxidize easily. Something which can be oxidized easily is a better reducing agent. What they are saying, better oxidizing agent. This is wrong. This is wrong. Let's check option B. Calcium is a better reducing agent than magnesium. Calcium is a better reducing agent than magnesium. Okay. So if calcium is a better reducing agent, yeah, the statement is correct. Yes, the statement is correct. But you can see the product is same. You can see the product is same. So if calcium is a better reducing agent, so the product should be different. But in this question, the product is same. The statement is correct, but it's not going to explain this observation in a better manner. That's why option B is incorrect. Okay. Now check option C. Magnesium is more, no, magnesium is less reactive. Okay. So D for doctor is correct. अब you are thinking, थोड़ी देर पहले मैं आपको कह रहा था कि ऑप्शन डी करेक्ट नहीं है, लेकिन look at this. Stops and leaves most of the calcium unreacted. You know क्यों? क्यों? कि magnesium sulfate is more soluble and calcium sulfate is less soluble. So when something is less soluble, of course, you will see the precipitates. You will see the precipitates. Okay, that's the reason they have written okay, most of the calcium is unreacted. So option D is correct in this question. Okay, so before doing inorganic chemistry, like you must know each and every observation, the color of the precipitate, the solubility of each and every hydroxide, the solubility of each and every sulfate, the pH of the solutions, कि कौन acidic pH देगा, which one is going to give you the basic pH, or about the reactivity. So यहाँ पर आपको थोड़ा सा you have to do more effort on these observations as compared to organic chemistry. Like regarding observation as compared to these things, organic was very easy. Okay, in that you have to only think about the reagent and conditions. That's it. लेकिन यहाँ पर you will see in a lot of questions के observations, physical state or pH of the acid, pH of the base, solubility of each and everything. तो ये चीजें आपको देखनी है. Okay, so for question number 19, option D is correct. See question number 20. I'm going to give you 1 minute, then I'm going to tell you okay, how to do this question. Yeah, जल्दी से. Question number 20. Yes. Question number 20. Yes. Mhm. Yes, 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 yes. Mhm. Mhm. No, no, nothing. Should I tell you this? हाँ भाई हादिया ईमान शाफे सोफिया सिमोना you are late today. Tala, yes. What's the correct option? Then I'm telling you. चलो मैं बताता हूँ. Dolomite is a double carbonate and can be used instead of calcium carbonate for treating acidic soils. Okay, 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 okay. Three statements all refer to the agricultural use of these carbonates. Option one. Statement 1. Dolomite and calcium carbonate are both less soluble than calcium hydroxide. Okay, calcium hydroxide. So, yeah, this is correct. This is correct. Okay. Okay, dolomite, that is your calcium and magnesium carbonate. Okay. Uh, and calcium carbonate, that is CaCO3. This is calcium magnesium carbonate, double carbonate, are both less soluble. Of course, calcium hydroxide is more soluble. Hydroxides are more soluble than carbonate. अब देखो, if some of you don't know about the solubility of these compounds, you will not be able to do this question. That's why I'm saying you must know the solubility. Okay, solubility is very important in inorganic chemistry. Option, like statement 2, 1 mole of dolomite has the same neutralizing effect as 1 mole of nine. No, 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 no. Because dolomite has 2 moles of carbonate as compared to calcium carbonate may you have only one carbonate. In this you have two carbonates. Of course, the neutralizing point would be different. The neutralizing point would be different. Okay, so statement 2 is incorrect. Let's check 3 as well. Dolomite and calcium carbonate both increases the pH of acidic soil. Increases means what? More than 7. Increases means what? More than 7. Why? Because they are basic in nature. Carbonates are basic in nature. Yeah, this is correct. So statement 1 and 3. So of course option B is correct. Okay, simple सा था, easy question था. Okay, चलें जी. 21. Question number 21. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. सोचो फिर मैं बताता हूँ.
Sir, C.
C. Okay. This question is about the two salts, NaI and NaCl. The two solid salts are separately added to warm concentrated sulfuric acid and the results noted. Aqueous solutions of the two salts are separately added to silver nitrate and then concentrated ammonia is added and the results noted. Uh, which raw is correct? Option A में कह रहा है sodium chloride is the salt. Identity of one product formed with concentrated H2SO4. देखो NaCl का concentrated sulfuric acid से क्या reaction था? NaHSO4 NHCl. They are saying one of the product formed is Cl2. No, 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 it's incorrect. So इसमें before going to do this question, you must know the group 7 reactions. If you remember, halogens में we did this. Okay. So option B, NaCl. No, no, no. H2S भी नहीं बनता. Option B is also incorrect. Option C, NaI. NaI iodide के साथ sulfuric acid का reaction. So if you remember, so we did this reaction in which When sodium iodide is going to react with sulfuric acid, it produces H2S. It produces H2S as well. An observation with silver nitrate, of course, with iodide, the yellow precipitate is produced. With chloride, white precipitate is produced. With bromide, cream precipitate is produced. So, option C is correct. Option C is correct. Okay. Yeah. See this question 22. It's about group 2. It's about group 2. See this question 22.
A.
A. Mm, the diagram shows the process of adding calcium nitrate, okay, and strontium nitrate to separately boiling tubes and heating tank. Identical conditions are used. Formula are given to you. All as the reactions proceed, the water containing universal indicator um, changes color. Which raw describes the color change and identifies the nitrate that causes the quickest color change. तो पहले तो मैं आपको ये बता दूं कि कैल्शियम नाइट्रेट हो or you have magnesium or strontium nitrate, you know, when the nitrate decomposes, they are going to give you calcium oxide, NO2, and O2. These are the products. These are the products. Okay. So nitrate that causes the quickest color change would be would be calcium nitrate as compared to strontium nitrate. If you are thinking, sir, how do you know this? If you remember, we used to discuss thermal stability. Thermal stability. Thermal stability of group 2 nitrates increases down the group. है ना? क्यों? When you are going down the group, so it would be difficult to break the nitrate. So of course, calcium is on the top of the group, can be easily broken down. That's why quickest color change. Of course, calcium nitrate. We have two options, A and C. Now we have filtered B and D. Okay. Now we have to see which one is correct. So you must know the color change of the universal indicator. As you know that NO2 is formed. NO2 is formed, that is your acidic gas, acidic gas. So you must know the color of universal indicator in acid, that is red, of course. C is correct. देख रहे हो आप कितनी चीजें आपको पता होनी चाहिए before going to do this question. It's multi topic basically. Okay. Now see this question number 1. It's October November 2024 paper 9701 paper 11. See this. Yes, yes, yes. इजी है, थोड़ा सा सोचो हो जाएगा. It's easy. Mhm, 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 mhm.
Sir, is it A?
Oh, okay, 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 okay. Q is used to represent the halogen atom. Magnesium and calcium each form a compound with chlorine. Of course, this is an ionic compound and compound with bromine. One of these compounds contain the element in group 2 with the highest first ionization energy and the element in group 17 with the higher QQ bond energy. What is the formula of this compound? देखो, with the highest first ionization energy. What does it mean? Highest first ionization energy. You have the two elements, calcium and magnesium. Magnesium is ऊपर, calcium is नीचे. So ionization energy decreases down the group, है ना? So magnesium should be having higher ionization energy. So of course Mg should be correct. So या तो A या तो B. या तो A या तो B. Option C and D is incorrect. Okay. Then Cl2 or Br2, they are saying KQQ energy is higher. Cl hai, then Br hai. You know the size of chlorine that is smaller in size. So having higher bond energy, it would be difficult to break down the bond of chlorine as compared to bromine. इसलिए A for apple is correct. जो भी था good था, बेहतरीन, good हो गया. Now see question number 2. Question number two. Compound X contains two elements, Y and Z. Element Y is in period 2 of the periodic table. In one atom of element Y, the p subshell has all three occupied orbitals. Only one of these three orbitals is fully occupied. Element Z is in period 3. Okay. Of the periodic table, in one atom of element Z, the p subshell has only two orbitals occupied. What is the formula of the compound X? Uh, okay. Okay, let's check A. Let's check A. Carbon. Carbon is in period 2. Element Y is in period 2. Uh, okay. Only one of these orbitals is 4, 5. Only two orbitals are occupied. Okay. So can you tell me chlorine is in period 3, yes or no? Chlorine is in period 3 or not? Yes. Can you check the periodic table? जल्दी बता दो. Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So then option C says then again silicon and oxygen. Okay. Silicon and oxygen. Silicon is again the same as I did. Then you have oxygen. Oxygen is 8. That is 1s2, 2s2, and 2p2. Okay. 1s2, 2s2, and 2p2, 2, 4, 6, and then 8. This is 2p4. 2p4 means that 2p4 means that 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Okay. Then SO2, again sulfur. Sulfur is 60. Sulfur is 8. Sulfur is 16. That is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6. 10 plus 2, 12. 12 plus 6. 12 plus 4 is 16. Again 3p4. Again 3p4 में 1, 2, 3, 4. So chlorine, sorry, oxygen, and this is they are the same. है ना? It's 3p, it's 2p, but the electrons are same in the 3p, 3p4 and 3p4. Okay, so चलें. Compound X contains two elements, Y and Z. Element Y is in period 2 of the periodic table. Okay, so it should be silicon because sulfur तो मेरे ख्याल में नहीं है. देखो जरा periodic table में sulfur है in period 2. Check it. And silicon की configuration was only 3p2. 3p2 means this is 1 and this is 2. Okay, element Y is in period 2 of the periodic table. In one atom of element Y, the p subshell has all three orbitals occupied. Okay, element Y, only one of these three orbitals is fully occupied. Of course, this should be silicon because one p orbital is fully occupied. One orbital is fully occupied. Okay, only one of these three orbitals is fully occupied, it says. Okay,
Sir,
and
but silicon is not in period 2.
so period 2 में नहीं है. कौन से period में है silicon?
Third period.
Oh, okay, so means that element Y or Z, so it should be element Z. Okay, in period 3 of the periodic table, in one element of in one atom of element Z, the p subshell has only two orbital occupied, so this is silicon. So this is for silicon. Okay, and let's check this कि ये किससे मैच हो रहा है. Okay, element Y is in period 2, so period 2 में of course it shouldn't be chlorine. Chlorine is in period 3, so I'm cancelling some options to make it easier. It shouldn't be chlorine because chlorine is in period 3. So option B is completely incorrect. Okay, option A is completely incorrect. Option A is completely incorrect, right? Or then we have to select C and D. Then we have to select C and D. So yes, what do you think? SO2 or SiO2? Of course, this is C. C option is in. C option is correct for this question. Technical question hai. Of course, you have to consider all of the things. Okay, how many orbital it has, how many electron it has, two electrons, fully occupied, partially filled, full filled, stable, more stable. So you have to consider all the things. So after this working, we have reached to this option, that is option C. Now you have to cross check this option, silicon and then oxygen. Silicon is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p2. Oxygen is 8, 1s2, 2s2, and then 2p, 2p4. Okay. So 2p4 may you have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is for oxygen, of course. For oxygen, they are saying element Y is in period 2 of the periodic table. In one atom of element Y, the p subshell has all the three orbitals occupied. As you can see, only one of these three orbitals is fully occupied. That is this. Okay. So yeah, this is oxygen. So of course, option C is correct. Check this option. If you know the shape of the graph, so you will be able to do this question. Otherwise, you have to check all the options.
D.
D for doctor. Oh, okay. D. Which graph has electronegativity on the y-axis? Electronegativity on the y-axis. So, okay. Chlorine की electronegativity you are saying is higher. Okay.
Sir, is it A?
A. 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 Yeah, A is correct. A is correct. Which graph has electronegativity on the y-axis? I think. And someone who was saying D, let's check option D or A. Okay, what's the difference? I told you कि across the period electronegativity increases. ये तो पक्की बात है कि it increases across the period. Increases means sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine. Like they are going across the period from left to right. They are going from left to right. Okay. So it increases for sure. So completely B and B is incorrect right now. So far B is incorrect. Which graph has electronegativity on y-axis? So gradually electronegativity is going to decrease in option D, but in option A it increases and then decreases. How is that possible? Can non-metals ki electronegativity are lower than metal? How is that possible? Electronegativity to ability to gain electron. Non-metals generally gain electron. So non-metals ki electronegativity should be higher. तो ऑप्शन ए डजंट मेक सेंस तो इसलिए ऑप्शन डी इज करेक्ट इसलिए ऑप्शन डी इज करेक्ट ओके सी क्वेश्चन नंबर 17 क्वेश्चन नंबर 17 यस elements x and y are in period 3 of the periodic table. Element X is either phosphorus or sulfur. Element Y is either sodium or magnesium. Element X forms an oxide that reacts with water to give a solution containing the aqueous anion XO4 2 minus. 1 mole of element Y reacts with 1 mole of chlorine molecules. At the end of the reaction, all of the element Y and all of the chlorine molecules have been used up. What are elements X and Y? What are elements
C.
X and Y? C, you're saying C.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Uh, C में you are saying कि phosphorus है. Let's check phosphorus, okay? Sorry, sulfur. So X and Y are in period 3. Okay. So hydrogen, helium, hydrogen, lithium, and so yeah, they are in period 3. Okay, यहाँ तक तो सही है. Element X is either phosphorus or sulfur. Element Y is either sodium or magnesium. Okay. Element X forms an oxide like sulfur oxide that reacts with water to give a solution the aqueous anion that is XO4 XO4 2 minus. Okay, like this. Exactly, because sulfuric acid may sulfate is 2 minus. Yeah, that's good. But sodium, Na. 1 mole of element Y reacts with 1 mole of chlorine. At the end of the reaction, all of the element Y, that is sodium, and all of the chlorine molecules have been used up. Have been used up. Okay. Is this equation balanced? No, it should be balanced. This is 2 and this is 2. So not 1 mole of element Y. It's 2 mole of element Y. Okay. So option C is incorrect. Option C is incorrect. Okay. Chalo, let's check D. D में भी sulfur है. Okay. Because sulfur is good. Sulfur is going to match with this. Okay. So let's check option D as well. So D में let's check magnesium. So when magnesium reacts with chlorine, it forms MgCl2. Yeah, this equation is balanced. So 1 mole of magnesium reacts with 1 mole of chlorine. So option D is correct. Option D is correct. Okay, option D is correct. Right? Okay, हो गया जी. चले, question number 18. 3CC question number 18. Yeah. Question number 18. Check question number 18. Then I'm telling you how to do this question.
C.
See, क्यों इधर सेमी, हाँ सेमी कंडक्टर तो होते ही जहन में सी आना चाहिए या. So you're not supposed to cross check this question. C is a semiconductor, that is silicon. Okay, 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 okay. 19. Yeah, 19. फिर मैं बताता हूँ 19, 19, 19.
C.
V and RW are two compounds. Each one contains a different group 2 element. A sample of each solid is added to water, shaken, and the pH of the resulting solution is measured. Oh ho, more than 7. It's basic pH. It's strong. eh, It's weak base. Weak base. So, which rock could identify V and W? So, it shouldn't be sulfate. It shouldn't be the sulfate. You know why? They're saying a sample of each solid is added to water. They are insoluble in water. They are insoluble in water. How they are going to react with water? So sulfate is wrong, wrong. A and B wrong options hai. You have to check C and D. So hydroxides are more soluble in water. That's the reason when they have added they have added these into the water, shaken, and the pH of the resulting solution is measured. Now you have to think which one is more soluble. Of course, barium hydroxide is more soluble than magnesium hydroxide. So it would be giving you just like that. They are an ionic compound. They are soluble in water. They are not going to react with water. Okay. So barium hydroxide dissociates more as compared to calcium hydroxide. Okay, so calcium barium hydroxide would be giving you more OH minus ions. That's the reason I can say its pH is higher as it is giving you more OH minus ions. So V has a higher pH means that it has a greater concentration of hydroxide ion. So which one is a compound which is going to give you more number of OH negative ions? Of course, that should be barium hydroxide. है ना? तो yeah, C is correct. या 20 देखना जरा. 20, 20. 20. Question number 20. आसान है, आसान. Easy, easy.
B.
अरे भाई, not coming slow. कौन है ये बच्ची भाई? Compound L decomposes on heating. One of the products is gas M. Okay, M reacts with unburned hydrocarbon to form peroxyacetyl nitrate. What could be compound? What could be the formula of L? What could be the formula of L? So they are saying decomposes on heating. तो देखो ये तो फॉर्मूला ही गलत है. The valency of calcium is 2. The charge for calcium is 2. It should be CaNO3 2 just like option B. And option C में decomposes on heating. One of the product is a gas. अरे इसमें भी गैस बनता है. You have carbon dioxide. Okay. Oh, the formula is incorrect. So we have to check option B and C. Okay. A and D are completely wrong. Option B and C में से we have to select. M reacts with unburnt hydrocarbon to form peroxyacetyl nitrate. Nitrate बोले तो nitrogen. Nitrogen. Which option is going to have nitrogen? So option B is correct. N, nitrate, nitrate, nitrate. Okay. Yeah, check question number 21. In reaction 1, concentrated sulfuric acid, बोले तो H2SO4, is added to potassium chloride and the fumes produced are bubbled um, into aqueous potassium iodide solution. Potassium um, iodide is I minus. Okay. In reaction 2, potassium chloride is dissolved in aqueous ammonia. Potassium chloride is dissolved in aqueous ammonia, and this is then added to aqueous silver nitrate. What are the observations for reaction 1 and 2? Chlorine is going to give you the white precipitate with potassium with silver chloride. With white, while you have two options, B and D. B for ball, D for doctor, or या तो B correct है या तो D correct है, because they are going to give you a white precipitate because you have chloride. Okay. Or or yes. Then what do you think? What's the correct option? In reaction 1, concentrated sulfuric acid is added to potassium chloride, that is H2SO4, and then potassium chloride is KCl, and the fumes produced are bubble into aqueous potassium iodide solution. पहले तो आप ये बताइए कि सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड का पोटेशियम क्लोराइड से what is the reaction with sulfuric acid with potassium chloride? Can anyone tell me? Yes. Yes.
Sir, HCl and KHSO4.
HCl and KHSO4. Okay. Yellow. HCl and KHSO4. Okay. And in reaction 2, or is added to potassium chloride, the fumes produced are bubbled into aqueous potassium iodide solution. They are saying fumes produced. Like, what is the fume? And they are saying are bubbled into aqueous potassium iodide solution. You know, potassium iodide solution is a colorless solution. Potassium iodide is a colorless solution. So observation for reaction 1 should be colorless. Observation for reaction 1 should be colorless. Colorless, you have two options, C and D. Colorless, because potassium iodide is a colorless solution. Okay. Then in reaction 2, they are saying, okay, potassium chloride is dissolved in aqueous ammonia, that is NH3. And this is then added to aqueous silver nitrate. Okay. This is then added to aqueous silver nitrate. Aqueous silver nitrate is AgNO3. Okay. That is colorless. AgNO3 is colorless, but AgCl is white solid. AgCl is white precipitate, okay? But they are not reacting silver nitrate directly with the potassium chloride. They are saying, first of all, you have added in aqueous ammonia and then you have added silver nitrate. So of course, you will not see the white precipitate. Okay, because when the direct reaction is going to happen with like between the chloride and the silver nitrate, then I can say the white PPT is produced. So of course, option C is correct. Colorless. Tricky question, of course. It's a थोड़ा सा हट के क्वेश्चन रूटीन से. Otherwise, generally, whenever we see the silver nitrate, so of course the thing that is come into the mind is that, okay, if there is chlorine, so we have to check the white precipitate. If there is bromine, so we have to see the cream precipitate. If there is iodide, so we have to write that there would be a yellow precipitate. Okay, so it's a routine से थोड़ा सा हट के. Let's see question number 22.
Let's see, isn't it D?
No, D is not correct. Because silver nitrate is not reacting with potassium chloride directly. Why they have dissolved in aqueous ammonia? Why? Why not they are directly reacting with this silver nitrate? What's the reason? So if let's suppose if this could be written potassium chloride is added to aqueous silver nitrate, then you have to check white precipitate. Otherwise, no. Otherwise, no. That's the difference. Okay. बात समझ आ रही है? Okay. See question number 22. 22. The table refers to uh, the hydrogen halides which raw is correct. ये तो आसान है. ये तो बता दो. 22.
Sir, is it B?
Uh, B. B में कह रहा है more difficult to oxidize down the group. Hydrogen halide. You know, hydrogen halide बोले तो HF, then HCl, then HBr, then HI. Like बोले तो fluoride, then chloride, then bromide, then iodide. They are saying more difficult to oxidize. Oxidation is a loss of electron. Oxidation is
C.
a loss of electron. So it can be oxidized easily, man. Why it's more difficult to oxidize? The size increases down the group. So they are going to lose electron in an easier manner. So option B for ball is incorrect. Then we have to, you're saying C, okay?
C.
Easier to oxidize. Yeah, it's easier to oxidize. But option A and C may be correct. It is A, it may be A, it may be C. Thermal
The A.
stability. Yeah, thermal stability is going to yes, increases or decreases down the group. Thermal stability decreases down the group. Okay.
In-
Why it decreases? Because the size of an halide increases. When the size increases, so its attraction with this hydrogen is going to decrease. So it requires less amount of energy to dissociate. It can be broken down easily. It can be dissociated easily. Okay. That's why option C is correct. See question number 6. It's a different paper, October, November 1, 2. Like this was 1, 1 and this is 1, 2.
B.
D for doctor. Okay. Why does ICl have a higher
Oh,
boiling point than Br2? ICl is more polar. ICl is more polar. Bromine is non-polar. This is the first reason. Okay. Because of the difference. Sorry. Because of the difference in the bond energies of the covalent bonds with ICl and Br2. देखो, when something is going to boil and something is going to be melted, only the IMF are overcome. The intermolecular forces are overcome, okay? Not the bond, not the covalent bond. When something is going to boil or when something is going to melt, remember the covalent bonds are not going to break down. Only the intermolecular forces are overcome. So in option A, they are not going to say regarding the intermolecular forces. So that's the reason I'm saying that this option is incorrect. Okay, then in option B, because of the difference, yeah, this is correct. Polar and non-polar. Polar का melting and boiling point generally higher होता है due to the greater attraction. So option B is correct. It's very easy. It's very it's very clear question. Like इसमें कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं है कि जो tricky हो. We have to think. Okay. In examiner report, they have written most of the candidates did this question. Of course, this is easy. 17. Yeah, this is 17.
Sir, is it A? Because
Uh,
it's basic.
yeah, exactly. This is basic oxide. So which oxide is insoluble in aqueous air? It's also a base. Base doesn't react with base. That's the reason. Okay, good, great. 18. Yes. Question 18. Sodium and sulfur are burned separately in oxygen. Each reaction has a distinctive colored flame. Which raw is correct? Which raw is correct? Sodium is going to give you a white flame. It's a common answer. Like it's from IGCSE as well, okay? Or sulfur is going to give you a blue flame. Sulfur is going to give you a blue flame. You must know the color of the flame to do this question. There is no rocket science behind this question. If you know this, so you will do this. Otherwise, no. Option C is correct. That's it. See question number 19. Okay, I'm telling you this question. X and Y are elements in period 3 of the periodic table. Y has a greater Y has a greater atomic number than X. Y has a greater atomic number than X. Okay. The stable ion formed by Y, the stable ion formed by Y has a greater radius than the stable ion formed by X. Okay. The stable ion formed by Y has 18 electrons. Okay. Which raw is correct? एलिमेंट थ्री में है एलिमेंट थ्री में कौन होता है एलिमेंट थ्री स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम सोडियम पीरियड थ्री सॉरी सोडियम मैग्नीशियम एल्यूमिनियम सिलिकॉन फॉस्फोरस सल्फर क्लोरीन देन आर्गॉन the stable ion formed by Y has a greater radius. across the period size decreases. Across the period size decreases. They are saying stable ion formed by Y has a greater radius than a stable ion formed by X. Of course, sodium has a greater radius than the stable ion formed by X. It is Na plus and it is Mg2 plus. The stable ion formed by Y has 18 electrons. Okay, Y has 18. No, magnesium has only 10 electrons. तो 18 किसके पास हो सकते हैं? Of course, this should be chlorine because of proton number 17. So chloride is 18, and they are saying 18, 18, 18, 18, 18. You have two options. 18, 18. You have two options. Element with the greater atomic radius. Element with the greater atomic radius. Y has a greater atomic radius than X. You know why? Because the cations have a smaller size than anions. Cations have a smaller size than anions. So that's the reason option C should be correct. Option C should be correct. Element with the greater atomic radius. Of course, it's X. Okay. See question 20, the last question.
Sir, B.
X is a group 2 element in either period 3 or period 5. XOH2 is less soluble in water than calcium hydroxide. Solubility of hydroxide increases down the group. So if they are saying they are less soluble, so it should be great. It should be above calcium. Okay. So which row is correct? Identity of X. Identity of X. So identity of X should be magnesium, of course, because strontium is more soluble. Or A or B may be correct. Then we have to see how it decomposes. I told you that whenever you are going to decompose any nitrate, metal nitrate, especially for group 2, so they are going to give you metal oxide and then nitrogen dioxide and oxygen gas. Of course, option B is correct. Of course, option B is correct. Okay. So you must know the solubility of the group 2 hydroxide in this question. Okay. Mhm. 21. We have few minutes. You can do 21 as well. Mhm. Which statement comparing magnesium and barium or their compounds is correct? Option A, magnesium reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid more rapidly than barium. No, magnesium is less reactive, barium is more reactive. Down the group reactivity increases. Option A is incorrect. Option B, 1 mole of magnesium carbonate gives off a greater amount of gas when it reacts with an excess of dilute hydrochloric acid than 1 mole of barium carbonate does. No, magnesium is less reactive. It's going to give you the less amount of CO2 because it's less reactive. Then option C में कहता है magnesium, the solubility of magnesium sulfate is in water is greater. And then the solubility of barium sulfate. Yeah, this is correct. Okay, I told you the solubility of the sulfate is going to decrease down the group. Okay, option C is correct. Easy है यार, बहुत easy question है. 22 भी देख लो. 22. Yeah. The colors of the silver halides and AgI differ. The solubility of these halides in aqueous ammonia also differ. भाई bromide का color cream होता है ना यार. So cream, 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 cream.
A.
You have two options, A or B. Okay, A. Yeah, A is correct. क्योंकि silver halide that is most soluble in ammonia, that is chloride. Iodide is insoluble in both concentrated ammonia or the dilute ammonia. So if you remember this reaction when we were testing these halide ions, and then we have a confirmation test with an ammonia. Okay, so in the presence of ammonia, this chloride is most soluble as compared to iodide. That's why option A is correct. Okay.